Hi, my name's Melissa. Oh, my lordy
You've
lord.
caught it. You've caught it now.
I have.
You have.
Last
yeah.
one. Hi, my name is Melissa Gelanese,
And I'm Scott Russell.
and we're here today for Let's Chat. It's been a comedy festival for the last half an hour. Anyway, we are here for Let's Chat, and we're here at a very special place today.
We are.
I'll
Sorry,
take control, Scott.
She's been giving me a rough time, and it's funny, all right? I mean,
We're here at Ormo today at a place called...
What's Ormo?
Well, you can call
Ormo,
it
didn't you
Ormeo.
call it- What's it called? It's
The
not
cafe.
Ormo, it's N-O-E-G-O.
The suburb
NoEgo.
is Ormo.
Oh, Ormo.
The cafe, excuse Scott today, the cafe is NoEgo Cafe. And this place was pretty different to the way it is today, about a year and a half ago.
She brought us here to NoEgo because she said, Scott, I got a subliminal message I want to get through you today. No ego. You're going to get rid of that ego.
No ego.
No ego. But tell us what's
Scott, you don't have an
I'm being
ego.
ridiculous, but tell us all about No Ego today.
All right.
What
So the
happened
first
here?
time I came to NoEgo Cafe,
First time you had No Ego.
you cannot include any of this. The first time I came to NoEgo Cafe was just after, it was late 2021 when the mandates had just came in.
Yep.
And the vaccine mandates, that is. And
Yeah.
it was a very strange time in which I'd been told, that I maybe couldn't go and see my daughter do her final dance performance at the Star Casino because I wasn't jabbed. If she was 2 years older, she would have had to have been jabbed.
She does it. Melissa's daughter does.
Is a dancer.
Is a dancer.
Yeah.
And she was doing,
Elite
her
level
school was
dancing.
doing a dance at the casino here.
Yeah, and it was a really strange time in which, we were like the outcast that weren't allowed to attend restaurants, social events.
The unvaxxed.
Yeah, it was.
You're
It was.
unvaxxed.
It was crazy Nazi town.
I'm
Pretty
unvaxxed
much.
too, actually. but
Yeah. So, it was early days of me waking up, and at the time they were making a bit of an example with some businesses in
No,
Queensland.
it was ridiculous.
Yeah, they were actually, going in to shut down businesses that made a stand that said they were going to serve everybody because, the mandates were actually going against human rights.
Yep.
NoEgo Cafe, not only do they serve amazing coffee, which I found out after, but they also were, behind the fact, and the wonderful owner at the time was going against that.
Good
So
on him.
we stood here. There were hundreds of people here, and it was my first sort of take on standing up for this.
Yeah.
It was before I went to any rallies or anything
Yeah,
like that.
good
And I
on you.
stood and we basically deterred the police from coming in because they were getting ready to shut the business down because they'd already received a couple of warnings. And we came to support the business, but in doing so, we also deterred the police. I'm looking out there because it's a vivid memory of mine.
It was
We
over
watched-
there. There's a driveway there.
We
I'll
watched.
turn the camera around.
We watched
Excuse me, at
as
some
the
point.
police drove past 3 times, but they could see there was no point in coming in at that time because there was a barricade of so many people that would have just
Did they
stopped
come
them.
back later?
They ended up coming and talking to the owner eventually, and I know that the owner, Dan, received a number of fines, which they fought.
Of course.
But they stuck to their guns, and I think that's a lesson for all of us,
Yeah.
It's now in the hands of another owner, Donna, who came to help him at the time. And her quick story, is that she was actually working for Qantas at the time the mandates come in.
Big Australian airline.
Yeah. And it was a matter of get vaccinated or lose her job. So, and she'd just gone through a time where her mother was vax injured.
Yeah.
So that was the last thing she wanted to do.
Yeah.
And it's since, opened up a whole window of truth for her. But, I'm proud of all the businesses in looking back, and I just hope that we don't go through that because it's going to happen again.
I love, there's no other way to say it. I love those sort of, Dan, the original owner.
Yeah,
I've never
yeah.
met him. I've never had to,
Yeah.
I hope I do. I hope you see this, Dan. I'd love to meet you.
Yeah,
A man of character.
absolutely.
And I love it when people have character and passion and they say, I will stand because
Yeah.
it's the right darn thing to do.
Yeah.
I love that. And it's like,
Yeah.
and if more of the world did that, we wouldn't be in this crazy mess. But so many
Exactly.
people just roll over. So good on you, Dan. If you ever watch this,
Yeah.
I'm proud of you. for
And
what
I
it's worth.
also have to say, in saying that, just to add to that, You know, I did watch a bunch of videos where he was having to talk to the police, and then the liquor license came in to chastise him. What I loved when you're talking about character, I love that he stuck to his demure convictions, but the way he portrayed himself. You know, I've heard a saying.
With class, was he?
He was. Absolute class. He was demure, he was respectful. There was nothing untoward. He spoke in an eloquent manner and respectful, and I think that's something that we all need to, you know,
take a lesson from.
Maybe we can talk about that a bit more today, you know. How do we hold ourselves, and what language do we convey?
The class of it, I mean, it's... It is true, having class, staying in our class. And wherever you are in the scale of that, stay in that. Don't try to get out of it. Be who you are, but be, tactful, respectful.
Tactful is a word,
Kind of, we touched on it earlier.
Somebody once said to me, when we're faced with adversity, who do we want to be? Who do we want to be remembered for being? And I think that's a question that we need to ask. You know, it's hard when you're facing the barrel of a gun, but, you know, in adversity, who do we want to be?
And I think in the public speaking part of it, it is important to be who you are, but be also respectful of who you're talking to. It's a mixed audience. So I've been in rallies and things where the guy out the front's dropping all sorts of foul language, and there's women, children, everybody out there. It's like, those people don't all talk like that. You might in your world, but we don't. And it's like, respect the fact that you're in a mixed audience. So what you're saying with Dan here is he had he had respect for the police officers. We did that.
And I think you're going to get more, sorry to interject there, but I think you're going to resonate with more people, and therefore have more influence over, you know, who's going to understand the message and wake up as well.
Nothing better than, Melissa and I did a thank you at the American Embassy, like a year ago when this was all going on. We were trying to bring America in and relate, and at the time we were having a lot to do with the trucker convoy, and so it was kind of a message we wanted to video and send to the trucker convoy that we're here giving a thank you, and a bit of a PR stunt, I guess, in some ways, to try to merge at that time the world wasn't merged in it. Everyone was doing their own thing. We were trying to graft Australia and New Zealand and to America, because we felt if America got, you know, their little sister, little brother, Australia on board, it'd go well. Anyway, my point being is, I remember talking there, and it wasn't funny when we first started that, police came from everywhere, because it's like, you know, the American embassy's going to be attacked.
Absolutely.
So there was like massive amount of police, and they lined all across the front of the embassy. The video's on there, but
we stood our ground, but we could have been loose cannons.
We were respectful.
And we could have been ridiculous and, you know, shouted our message. And, well, the first thing that's going to happen is, you know, you're going to be met with fight, aren't you? But we stood there, and I was respectful. The police told me, the guy that was there, the cop told me to move over to this area. So I said, oh, yeah, no problem. I was respectful.
So I got a good story with that, which you just reminded me of respectful.
Yeah.
So I spoke, and wasn't planning on it, but I just got the fire in my belly and talked about freedom. And I said, everybody here wants freedom, including the police officers. We're not here for vaccines. We're not here for lockdowns. We're here for freedom.
Inclusion.
Freedom's important. Every officer hearing me wants the same freedom we want. And because I didn't trash them, these damn police, because they're just like us, even though, you know, whatever your view is there. When I was later standing on the curb, on the gutter, on the road, and another man was there, another freedom guy, who obviously gets a little vocal. A police officer came along to tell everyone to get off the road, and he rebuked the guy that was there before me. He said, get off the road, and mouthed off at him, and the guy barked, got up on the road. And he came to me and he didn't say a word. And I just stepped up on the road. And then later he then came back through and demanded that man moved even further from the road, and he left me completely alone. And I feel like it was because they knew when I spoke, I gave them respect.
Right, and you held yourself in a respectful way. Don't be the way that they want us to be. They're tarnishing us with labels. I think the point is to hold yourself in high account.
And respect.
And don't be that. Shock them and be the opposite.
Because when we disrespect anybody, it gives them permission to treat us with lack of respect.
That's it.
So
yeah, you show people how
they accelerate it, don't they?
Yeah, you show people how you want to be.
If we
treated.
match their level of disrespect, they will give us more aggression, and we match that aggression, we get more aggression, and ultimately, you're not going to beat the police's aggression.
Yeah,
they will wheel out the bear vehicles, or the tanks.
Absolutely.
They'll wheel out the water cannons. They'll wheel out the dogs.
Yeah.
You'll never beat their aggression.
Yeah.
So I think it is important that that respect does go a long way. So it's the fact that Dan here gave a lot of respect.
Yeah. I think he showed a lot of people how to do it as well. You know, the team that he had behind him as well, of staff were also following in suit. So, you know, he showed a lot of people how to manage that and how to do it right.
That was one of the first things you said that you attended in Freedom. How'd you feel coming to that? Were you scared?
I was a little bit apprehensive, but the calling was so much greater.
No, you had the fire in your bones. You were ready to fight. Now look out when the woman's ready to fight. Huh?
Yeah, don't go down that woman thing again. But yeah, that's right. Obviously, the calling, I had to be there. Just like I was there the day that the convoy left the Gold Coast. I remember being there then as well, and I knew that I had to be there as well. The calling was there, but then it was like, no. It's fine to say goodbye to them, but I also need to be in Canberra.
Hey, it was amazing though, when we were down in the Freedom rallies in Canberra, how many ladies your age, young ladies,
I'm glad that you said that. Correct yourself.
I rolled my eyes. You didn't see that.
Ladies of maturity.
And class. I met one lady that had come from 11-hour drive, and she said, I was at home, I just felt I had to come, told my husband, my kids, I'm leaving, jumped in the car, drove from Adelaide, drove across, and was there just living it. And that was so common. People that had just said from all over the country, I had to be there.
Yeah. You know, it's funny,
something
Donna
was pulling me out.
The new owner for NoEgo, I was talking to her about a few things earlier on today, and she said the same thing. We have a very similar story. We drove to the first one in Canberra, feeling like we just had that calling, like we had to be there. Yeah. We came back for our commitments, and both of us flew back to Canberra for the massive one, because we just knew that we couldn't miss out on that. It was too important.
Do you know what's fascinating about that? I'm talking to Melissa about it. In the US, when the currency collapses, I really feel there's going to be this sovereign move of freedom. And Epic, for us in Australia, Epic is an example of that. Yeah. People were just came. They were just drawn. People were at home and they were like, I have to go. Yeah. We're going to see that in America. And I want to encourage the Americans. I know I've seen it, and that I believe what's going to happen here is as things go bad, people are just going to be drawn out into the streets. They're going to go out into the streets like Epic to be together, and the community that's going to be there, and it's going to be and the support that's going to come out of that, the love that comes out of that, the passion that comes out of that to keep going. Absolutely. That's what, in New Zealand it was the Beehive, in Australia it was Epic, in Canada it was the trucker convoy, in America it was Hagerstown, and other parts of the world probably had it too. But the spirit that was there.
Brazil and the places that have recently had
the spirit that was there, you can only understand if you experienced it. You can't explain that to someone. It's like trying to explain romance to someone that's never had it. You can never explain it. And I think that's
I tried
what
that
we're
week
see.
one when we spoke about that a little bit. We touched on it and I explained it. It's like when you all arrive for that one big rock concert and you're all so hyped for the big celebrity to get up on stage, but add tenfold to that. And that's how it felt. It just was
complete freedom.
Really authentic and real.
And that is what is going to save us. Yeah. Because as things go evil and people are going to sell out their soul to get normal, others are going to stand up. They're just going to be drawn out. And I can see 20, 30 people sitting under trees, hundreds of people all over places like San Francisco. I believe I've seen that, and haven't seen it happen yet, but I believe in like dream, vision, whatever. And New York, same deal. Boston, same deal.
We're all saying no together, right?
We're all saying no, and it's just bringing that freedom spirit to each other. That's just going to be an incredible time, and I am living for that. And we're going to have 3 years of that, and then I believe then it's going to all come to a crashing, screaming as they bring in complete totalitarian control and authoritarian.
That's what you think?
I'm living for that. I believe that.
I think we're going to have some murky water, but I think there's enough people in the back end, and there's enough people also here
You're always kicking me in the pants,
Yeah,
saying,
I
"Oh,
know.
you're too fatalistic."
I know,
I'm
you
not.
are.
I'm seeing. I think that's the end point, but
Yeah.
the journey in between, how long that takes,
It's going to
I
be
don't know.
murky, I think, and none of us are Nostradamus, so we don't really know for sure. We're all just
Yeah.
going by what seems to be happening now, the lead up to things. We know that things
Important
are
we
changing
keep fighting,
quickly.
though. It is important we keep fighting. We
That
don't just
is.
get fatalistic and say, it's all going to happen.
Yeah.
What'll be, will be.
No,
Doris Day, what
we
shall be,
can't.
will be.
I did not know you could sing.
Can't sing like your husband. He's a good singer from what I've seen. I mean,
Yeah.
Vince, just the guy's got a gift. I saw him singing somewhere with a guitar, and I was like, yeah, no, I sing, but no,
Yeah.
I make noise.
He doesn't sing
sings.
Doris Day though.
He sings. Ask him if he'll sing some Doris Day. He'll probably slap me.
He's writing.
Sorry, Vince.
He's actually writing some good songs at the moment.
Oh, he writes
to
them
do
too,
with
huh?
what we're going through. Yeah.
Nice.
Stay
I'd
tuned.
love to hear him. Ask him if he'll
Yeah.
sing one for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure that'll happen soon.
So we're going to put that out there, Vince.
Yeah.
The challenge is we're going to want to hear some of these songs, and I'll put them on the video and out to the world with them. Yeah.
You know how I was telling you about Mickey Willis, the producer of Plandemic, you know, that series?
Yeah.
The one thing that I took from that, well, I took many things, but the one thing that I remember thinking about was that with the mainstream media that's gone,
Yeah.
people have become citizen journalists. We are the network now.
Yeah, we are.
We're all the network now. We've really become citizen journalists. But with that becomes responsibility, you know, and I've been guilty of this too, but, you know, because I've got one of my own chat groups
Yep.
within the freedom movement, and I think with that comes conscious responsibility. We all have to make sure that we're actually spreading the news with responsibility,
in a responsible
and doing
way.
it right.
Yeah.
And checking the accuracy of things too, because I mean, with my chat group, it's more a matter of we're all like the little sleuths. So we're all looking into it, going, well, is that true? Isn't it true? That's a chat group. But I feel like the responsibility and the onus is on us if we're going to put something public for others to see who are waking up or still very dormant and in a coma. We need to make sure that if we're putting something on a public forum, that it is 100% accurate.
I got caught in that when I first started doing videos.
Yeah.
I shared this video of, actually it was the freedom movement. I shared it. They all left when they got chased by police.
Yeah.
They went out to this farm.
Yeah.
And everybody was saying, oh, it's a refugee camp.
Right.
And so I've shared this video saying there's a legal refugee camp in Australia.
Right.
That's wasn't true.
And what was it?
It was a safe. It was a safe haven.
Sorry.
They'd agreed for women and children to go there, and then the police couldn't harangue them.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a political asylum type refugee camp.
Yeah.
So I had to put out I said, look, I'm sorry, that was not true, but you know, the video.
So you retracted it.
I did, but the trouble is, I started to learn as I began this. It's so easy to put stuff out there that's going to get you hits, or you're going to cause a lot of drama or a lot of whatever, and you've kind of got to stay calm. Another guy that's helped with our global group, he's had some videos come through, and he's just, I don't feel good about this one. Let's research it a little more, and we research it, and he's like, I just don't feel good, and we don't share it.
Yeah.
And in the end, it's.
So you're going to use that gut intuition again.
Yeah,
I think the trick is to just make sure, like, have a think about what mainstream media is like and the junk that they produce, and make sure we're doing the complete opposite.
Yeah.
You know, again, it becomes that representation. Who do we want to be, and what do we want to look like? It's truth and it's freedom for a reason. Think of those two words.
Yeah.
So we don't want to be responsible for putting out propaganda.
Truth fights for itself too, doesn't it?
That's it.
So ultimately, if it's
true,
something
you
that's
don't
true,
need to excuse it.
Yeah, and if it takes an extra day or hour to get out there, even if you're not the first,
100%.
You're right. I think from whom much is given, much is required. I won't say where that comes from.
Yeah.
But
where does it come from, Scotty?
So I'm not sure.
The Pixies.
But it's true to have that. Because otherwise you put something out there and they discredit it. Everything you say is discredited.
Yeah.
And you found that. I mean, you put a little bit of untruth in with something and you get caught on that. Everything you say is now uncredible.
Yeah.
Uncredible? Incredible.
Discredited.
Discredited. Anyway.